Hello, Algebra 1. This is Ms. Paflin, and I'm going to be going over Lesson 2.1, Solving Equations, Investigation, Writing, and Solving Equations. As you see, there's the eel clip art, and you have the woohoo bit emoji. So go ahead and mark the text along with me, circling verbs and underlining nouns for your I can statements. So by the end of this activity, you should be able to do all of these things. I can use units to understand and interpret problems. I can choose and interpret an appropriate scale for a graph. I can explain each step when solving an equation. I can construct a viable argument for choosing a solution method. I can solve a linear equation in one variable, and I can solve a literal equation. Correlating learning tasks. You also need to watch the inverse operations video and the properties video. I gave you the handout for the properties video in class. This is the guided video. And then you will also need to start assignment 2 and spiral review 2. Vocabulary is equation, solution, properties of equality, and given. All right, to start, I want you to do number 1 on your own. So you have to figure out what the number is using this clue. If you multiply me by 3 and increase that value by 5, I am 20. What's my number? So go ahead and pause it and figure out what the number is. All right, welcome back. So let's check your work. So doing this, we need to work backwards. We know that the result is 20. So I'm going to start with 20. And then before they got to 20, they said increase that value by 5. Well, the opposite of increase, since I'm working backwards, I have to go the opposite. The opposite of increase is decrease. So what is 20 minus 5? 15. All right, then before that, they multiplied by 3. The opposite of multiply by 3 is divide by 3. I'm also always going to use a fraction bar to show division. Now that you're in high school math, you need to use the grown-up symbols for math. So we're not going to use this division symbol or X for multiply. So those are more elementary and middle school symbols. We want to use the division bar for division and then the dot instead, or the little asterisk star for multiplication. And then 15 divided by 3 equals 5. So that's the original number. All right, now I want you to pause it and do number 2. You need to write an equation using this method that we just did to figure out what the number is. All right, welcome back. Let's go over number 2. So we just want to create an equation that goes over these steps. So if you multiply me by 3, well, we don't want, let's pretend we don't know what the number is. We're going to make n equal the number. And if we multiply that number by 3, this unknown number n, we would do 3n to show 3 times that number. Increase that value by 5 plus 5, and you get 20 equals 20. Remember, an expression does not have an equal sign, but this is telling us to write an equation, so it does have an equal sign. All right, now I want you to do numbers 3 and 4 on your own, so go ahead and pause the video. All right, you should have done 3 and 4 on your own. Let's go over these. So complete the table below. So this is just showing you step by step. Let's say we have x equals 4. Start with x equals 4 as the operation. Then it wants you to multiply both sides by 5. So they already did the left side for you. 5x is 5 times x. Well, we need to multiply 4 times 5. So that would be 20. Then they want you to subtract 13 from each side. They already did that on the left, 5x minus 13. And then 20 minus 13 is 7. So 5x minus 13 equals 7. We want to do the same thing to both sides of the equation to keep it balanced. Also, another thing to point out on these packets, you have these math terms. So these are the vocabulary given. It has equation and solution in this little box. So these will be really helpful when you're filling out your Unit 1 vocabulary or for any other unit after this. So an equation is a mathematical statement that shows that two expressions are equal. A solution is any value that makes an equation true when substituted for the variable. All right. You should have already created your own equation just like you did in item 3 up here. So obviously yours should not look like mine, and if it does, that is really crazy. But I don't want you to think yours is wrong if you don't have the same. Remember, it's create your own. So kind of just use mine to check to make sure you were along these lines. So I just did x equals 9, and then I said start with x equals 9. So I'm just kind of using the same terminology from up here. Then I wanted to multiply both sides by 2. So that would be 2x on the left side, and then 9 times 2 is 18. And then I want to add 10 to each side. So left side 2x plus 10, 18 plus 10 is 28. All right, going over to the next page, I want you to do numbers 5 and 6 on your own. So go ahead and pause right now and do 5 and 6. Okay, number 5, consider the equation 15x plus 8 equals 68. Describe two operations that are being done to x. So we're just looking at the left side. What is being done to x? Well, 15x, x is being multiplied by 15. And after that, we're adding 8. 8 is being added to 15x. Number 6, same thing, consider this equation, describe three operations that are being done to x. Well, first I need to look at the numerator of my fraction x minus 3, so we're subtracting 3 from x, so that's my first one. Subtracting 3 from x. Then the denominator is 4. Remember, fractions represent division, so then we're dividing 4. So dividing x minus 3 by 4. And then we are taking that whole term, x minus 3 divided by 4, and we're adding 2. Adding 2 to x minus 3 over 4. All right, task 3, solutions to equations. So for this one right now, I want you to go ahead and pause the video and do number 7, A, B, and C. All right, let's review these. So these, it wants you to say if the given value of x is a solution. So if it is a solution, it makes this equation true. It will make it equal on both sides. So let's plug in x equals 2. So I'm going to rewrite it all the same, but instead of x, I plugged in a 2 right here. And now I'm going to use PEMDAS to solve and just see if this left side, once I simplify it, it will equal 22. So PEMDAS, P is for parentheses, 2 minus 1 equals 1. And then notice how I'm rewriting everything else the same. Now I want to multiply next. 4 times 1 is 4. And rewrite everything else the same. And then combine like terms, 2 plus 4 equals 6. 6 does not equal 22. This is the symbol for do not equal. You just slash that line through it. So x equals 2 is not a solution. Not a solution. All right, B. Let's see if x equals 24 works for this equation. So 14 minus 24 divided by 4 equals 8. All right, PEMDAS, I need to divide first. Also, this is a subtraction sign, 14 minus, but I also like to just look at this term by itself. I also look at it as negative 24 divided by 4. A lot of my students in the past have made mistakes on this, and they forget this subtraction sign, or they don't think of it as a negative, so I always think of it as a negative 24 divided by 4. So that would be negative 6, or 14 minus 6. So be really careful with your signs and maintaining them. All right, combine like terms, 14 minus 6 is 8, and 8 does equal 8, so yes, it's a solution. All right, C, we want to see if 9/10 is a solution. So I'm going to plug that in for x. 3.8 plus 6 times 9/10 equals 8 and 6/10. All right, PEMDAS, we need to multiply. If you struggle with multiplying with decimals, just ignore the decimals. 6 times 9 equals 54. And then if we put the decimal back in, we're moving it 1 to the left on the 9, so then I want to move it 1 to the left on the 54, so it's 5 and 4/10. 3.8 plus 5 and 4/10 is equal to 8 and 6/10. And then let's combine like terms. 3.8 plus 5.4 is 9.2, which does not, or 9 and 2/10, which does not equal 8 and 6/10. Not a solution. All right, we're about done with task 2. So go ahead and finish number 8 and 9, and then we'll wrap up this part of the video. All right, welcome back. You should have done 8 and 9. So here is another table that we are going to complete below, starting with the equation you wrote in item 3. So item 3 was on the left side, 5x minus 13 equals 7. And we now want to work backwards to find the solution. We want to do the inverse. So it gives us the operation. 13 was subtracted from both sides. So we want to do the inverse, and we want to add 13 to both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show underneath this equation, 5x minus 13. I'm going to rewrite it, 5x minus 13, and then I'm going to add 13, and then 7 plus 13. All right, now let's solve this. We can cross cancel these. Negative 13 plus 13 equals 0. We're left with 5x. 7 plus 13 is 20. Now we want to do the inverse operation of both sides were multiplied by 5. So opposite of multiply is divide both sides by 5. So remember using the division bar, fraction bar. 5x divided by 5 equals 1x. When we're doing this, we are going to represent 1x as just x. That's the same because I have 1x here. 20 divided by 5 is 4. X equals 4, and that was the solution given to us on the previous page. So it said your solution should match the number you started with in item 3, and it does. 9, what did you notice about the order of operations in the table above compared to the table in item 3? Well, I noticed they were inverse operations, which means the opposite. Inverse operations. Opposite. If I can spell. All right, this concludes task 1 and 2 of this packet. So I'm going to stop the video here, and then you'll need to watch the next video posted. This kind of goes more along with task 3, so I will wait to go over this table at the bottom here when I get to task 3. All right, go ahead and stop the video here and then play the next video.